What's going on, everybody? This is Bobby Mack coming to you from the Huevos Ketchup podcast. Before we get started on today's podcast, you want to get a badass tattoo at a badass price? Go see the folks over at Electric Panther Tattoo and at Rose of Texas Tattoo here in San Antonio, Texas. Best artists, best prices. This shit is legit. Tell them Bobby sent you. Now let's start the show.
It's that real.
In today's topic, we're going to be talking about how to survive or make it out of poverty, or how to just make it in America today. We got two different views here. You can look at this as we're coming into, like, my angle is kind of everybody has the same opportunity, and I mean everybody. Whereas obviously Ray comes in and he pretty much disagrees with me.
I feel like you're missing part of the conversation, because the conversation that we had yesterday was I think you had said something about white privilege, and then you had said that it doesn't exist, and then I disagreed with you a bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, my whole thing is that I can't play into the whole, especially now. And
again, white privilege doesn't mean that you're racist or that you are trying to say that you're better than anybody or anything like that. It's just, again, I feel like some, that it does exist. So
okay.
Again, I just want to clear that out there.
So again, I don't think that white privilege, again, if we look at what white privilege and what people think it means, is that you have a leg up in society because of your white skin. Okay. I can't get on board with that. Now, look, I'm half white, half Hispanic. My mom is Puro West Side here from San Antonio. I'm half and half. I'm a little Arnold Palmer here, if I may. So, I can't get on board with just this cloud of white privilege that covers everybody, or covers only people of different color skin, to where they can't make it in America because of white privilege. If someone's successful, it's not because of their skin color. So this is where we start to really, really disagree, is because I believe in that everybody has the same opportunity. Okay. Now, not everybody has the same access to all the resources. Like, you could be born white and rich, and you're going to have access to a bunch of resources. You could be born black and rich. You're going to have access to all the resources. Let's look at Jay-Z and Beyonce's baby. Okay. What's her name? Blue, right? So she's going to have the best of everything. Okay. And she's black, right? Again, going back to everybody has the same opportunity. Okay. And that's just hands down. Everybody has the same opportunity. Now, does everybody take advantage of those opportunities? No, they don't. Okay. And that can be, in excess of reasons X, Y, and Z, because let's say that you grew up in the ghetto, right? You grew up in the hood, you grew up in the ghetto, you're black, Hispanic, whatever. You can't sit there and say that you don't have the opportunity to get a good job, to get an education, to get, to actually further your education, to go to college, so forth and so on. So you can't say that you don't have that opportunity, because look, here's the thing. If you grow up in in a single parent home, in poverty, your priorities are going to be different. Your priorities are going to be to bring food and put it on the table. Your priorities are going to be to pay that rent. Your priority is not to get an education and to be what society deems as successful. Okay.
Correct.
So, but again, that person doesn't have a lack of opportunity. They have the opportunity. Now, again, what I'm saying is that not everybody does or can take advantage of those opportunities. But you can't sit there and say that people of color, whether it be light brown, dark brown, black, whatever, does not have the opportunity.
Does not have.
I say how the fuck I want to say it.
All right, go.
So yeah, so again, the second part of that is you were saying, you said the key word, family. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're looking at two-parent households. Okay, a two-parent household, statistically, the child has it's a 76% higher chance in a two-parent household, regardless of color. Okay, to, I guess you could say, quote unquote, be successful, as in get a college education, have a career, and stuff like that. So again, the two-parent household is extremely important. So if you look at and again, I'm just now I'm pulling some statistics, and where I'm getting them from, I'm getting from the DOJ, which is the Department of Justice. I'm also getting them from the CDC. I'm getting them from several sources. Now, again, I'm just going by statistics and numbers. Okay, this has nothing to do with, I believe that, blacks or whites are better than the other. It hasn't to do with that. I'm just pulling out numbers. Okay, pulling out numbers that I found on those credible government sources. So, in the 1960s, for example, the percentage of black households that were single parent households were somewhere around, I want to say they were somewhere around in the low 20%.
For a black family?
Yeah,
okay.
For black. Okay. So 2 out of 10 black families would have a single parent household back in the 60s. Okay. Now, as of now, you're looking at anywhere between 70 to 80% as of 2017. Okay. You're looking at anywhere between 70 to 80% of black households are going to have single parent homes. Okay. Now, again, the problem with that is that you have, a lot of problems with that is that you have a lack of a male figure, which is going to obviously teach the young children, teach their sons to not abandon the family, to, teach them morals and whatnot. Now, again, I'm not for any way, shape, or form saying that single black moms are immoral or anything like that. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that undeniably a 2-parent household has a higher success rate of raising successful children than a single parent home. Okay. So you have the single parent thing, and then you have, again, priorities within the home. You have, again, if I'm being raised in a single parent household with 3 brothers and sisters, my priority is not obviously, well, I need to get an education someday to take care of my family someday. No, I need to do this now.
Okay, now let me stop you there real quick. I guess I'm going kind of to race. There's a good chance that the reason that these families are single parent households are because obviously the husband is not there, the man of the house or the children's father. But why is he not there? Is he incarcerated, or is he just are they just having trouble to where he's not able to be there? Now I know you're going to say, well, he had he had a choice to do something good or wrong to be incarcerated. But let me go back to the race thing. If people are handing out, okay, not handing out, but if they're willing to give the job to a white man versus a black man or Hispanic man, then again, that's where the privilege comes into play, because you and I both know that there are people that would rather give the job to a white person than a person, like you said, a person of color. So then it's almost like a domino effect to where it's going to cause that other family to end up not having the means to provide for them. So then they have to turn to either a life of crime or...
See, but that's where I disagree, is that number one, I can't buy that theory, because again, you have things like affirmative action. So because of affirmative action, typically, I'm not saying everywhere, because you and I both can agree, obviously, that racism still exists. Yeah. That's just a given. We know that. But typically, now, in today, I'm not talking 1950s, 1960s. I'm not even talking about the 1980s, okay? What I'm talking about today. Because of affirmative action, what you're saying is highly unlikely. Now, does it happen and can it happen? Yeah, but not to the degree to where you have, obviously, you have 70 to 80%. Yeah. That is 7 to 8 families out of 10 that are single parent homes.
But this is what it's come to. You're seeing it at its lowest because of everything that's happened centuries, decades. Okay, so
before. That's fine. So then it becomes a moral issue. So how are you raising your children to actually break that cycle?
But how do you expect them to break the cycle if the world is still racist and stereotyping to where...
But it's not as... Okay, so you're telling me that 2019, okay, is just as racist as, let's say, Jim Crow era? Or
people aren't public about it, but it is still more than likely still as racist.
Okay, but again, the amount of racism. So you're telling me that America in general is so full of racist people that 70 to 80% of households, black households, are single parent homes. Because America is that racist, that it takes 7
No, it's because
7 out of 10 families and puts them in poverty. No, that's garbage. It becomes a moral issue.
what
It's
I'm
a moral
saying
issue
is
that
this is. I'm not saying that
no. You cannot raise your kids in a way to where it's okay to grow up in a single parent home, and that's not just for blacks. That's for Hispanics and whites. Okay, so again, like, look, I have it right here.
Hold on, because you made me forget. You have it written down. I don't have this part written down. What I was going to say, damn it, I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, so what I'm trying to say to you is that the recovery process, I think.
So we're just now recovering in 2019.
Well, hello, the biggest part of racism stopped in what, the 60s? Maybe 70s?
Okay, so
now, so it's only been 40 plus years that the standard, what everybody remembers as racism and all that, was going on. So that's what I'm saying. You want in 2019 for everything to have already been flipped over to where everyone's having an equal advantage. It's not because
I'm not saying an advantage.
Black people and Hispanics are still
opportunity.
But you can't say that we all have the same opportunity.
But we do. I can't think of one example to where we don't have the same opportunity. If you can give me an example that says that person A and person B or whoever does not have the same opportunities. Now, again, do they have the same resources? No, they don't. Yes,
but resources come as opportunities.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. Okay. So I'm just saying this.
Okay, hold on. So if your family has $100 to spend on a tutor to help you with your schooling,
okay,
that's a resource, right?
That is a resource.
Okay. If my family doesn't have the $100 for me to get a tutor, so then what?
So then you don't have the resource.
I don't have that opportunity.
No, you do have that opportunity. Okay, so again,
if my family doesn't have the money for it,
how do what opportunity is? Let's define what opportunity is.
Okay. First, I want legit.
Okay, this is legit. This is Webster's dictionaries.
Okay, Google it up.
Opportunity right here. Okay, so we need to look at what the word opportunity means. Okay, so here we go. Opportunity definition. Okay. It is a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something. Okay?
A set of circumstances. The circumstance would have to be that my family had the same opportunities that your family had to be able to become successful.
Okay.
Again, hold on. Now, if we start off with the same families, a black family from the 40s and a white family from the 40s, you tell me that both of those families are going to have the same opportunity.
But I'm not talking about the 40s. I'm not talking about the 40s.
No, but I'm telling you, it all has to stem from somewhere.
No.
It all has to stem from somewhere.
Again, if you're still holding on to what happened to racism in the past, again,
because it still affects the world today.
But that is not arguing what is going on today.
It affected what is going on today.
Okay, I'm not saying that it has.
I'm not
saying that it doesn't hold any merit.
If Hispanics and black people had white people enslaved all these years, then it would be the other way around. It would be that the white families would still trying or would begin to or still try to begin to become successful.
If you like you said, I could afford a tutor and you couldn't. Okay, and let's just say that let's say that a black family can't afford a tutor, but the white family can. Right? Is that what you're saying? Okay. So again, that's not opportunity, that's access to resources. Because the black family or Hispanic...
But it's an advantage.
Okay, but again, an advantage is not an opportunity. That's the thing, is that, look...
It's still in there. It's in your definition.
No, it's not. Advantage is not... Dude, I'm telling you. Look, an opportunity is different than an advantage. Okay? You look at... Okay, I used to play basketball, right? So I'm 36. Who else is 36? How old is LeBron James?
34.
Let's just say, for example, me and LeBron James, okay? When I played basketball back in high school and junior college, I had the opportunity to play in the NBA, okay? What I mean by opportunity is that I was paving a way for myself to advance in a sport, okay? So did LeBron James. But here's the difference. We both had the opportunity. Okay, because as a matter of fact, you can go and try out for an NBA team. So technically, I had the opportunity.
Oh my goodness!
But it's true. But where it comes as an advantage, obviously in skill level, I can't even touch that. I can't even come close to a millifraction of LeBron James' skill level. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, is that everybody has an opportunity. Now, whether or not they can take advantage of those opportunities depends on some circumstances. Maybe you don't have enough money. Maybe you don't have a car. Maybe you don't have, XYZ. That's my argument, is that I'm not saying that, all black people and all Hispanics, they can be president if they wanted to. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they all have the same opportunity. However, not everybody has the same advantages, the same resources, the same income, all that stuff. All those things are varied. And think about it, because we're all different skill
But again,
level.
all the circumstances would have to go in favor of that person. In order
Because
for
it depends on what they do. And again, I brought this up yesterday. Think about yourself. When you got out of high school, did you have the opportunity to attend a 4-year university? Did you have the opportunity, yes or no?
Okay, yes, for your argument, but
Okay, there
the
you go.
circumstance was.
But again,
the circumstance
yeah,
was that
I
I had to try and find a way to get schooling done a lot quicker, so I could start working a lot quicker.
Yeah,
okay,
but-
so the opportunity wasn't there because then I would have to put my family in a suffering position because we needed to work or things like that.
But you still went to a
Trade school.
You still went to a trade school. You got an education. You got a degree. And let me ask you this: what race or ethnicity do you identify with?
Hispanic.
Okay, good. So you're Hispanic. And let me ask. And again, I don't want to get too personal on the podcast, but do you come from a 2-parent household or a single-parent household?
A single parent household.
So you are a Hispanic male that comes from a single-parent household, yet you still had the opportunity, and you still took advantage of the opportunity to go to a trade school. It's a college. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Trade school is a college. You were successful in graduating. You were successful in obtaining that skill and getting a job, like you said, to help your family.
Okay,
so
now, hold on.
that completely 100% supports my argument.
I consider myself having the privilege to be able to have my family, my mom, who gave me that opportunity to go to the school. There are families that don't even have that privilege to be able to give that privilege to their children.
Okay, privilege and opportunity are different. So again, like I said,
Oh my
it's the
gosh.
opportunity. It's the opportunity. Opportunity and privilege are different. I'm not going to argue. I can't argue that a rich. Okay, it doesn't matter what color you are, but a rich family is obviously going to have a lot more privileges than a poor white, black, Hispanic. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so what race do you believe has the most advantages in the world? The most advantages.
But advantages in what though? See, like that's the thing.
To become successful. in
Okay,
life.
so successful, and we're defining success as what? Let's just say graduate high school, go to college, and get a career. Let's say those things are success. So to do that, you're asking who has the advantage?
Yeah, the more likely of what race?
Okay, race. I can't say race.
Why? Because it'll mess up your argument.
No. Look, because all I'm saying is that who has the most economic resources is who's going to be more successful. That's just the truth. Now, again, I'll say it time and time again. Racism does exist. I can't argue that. You'd have to be an idiot to not believe that. Okay? But
So then you don't believe that there are okay, again, a lot of the companies, CEOs and founders and all these things, they're predominantly white owners. Am I right?
okay, you know what? I'm going to give you a good example. So, and this was one that I wanted to bring up.
You didn't answer me though.
What?
Do you agree that they're predominantly white owners?
It depends on it does. It just I can't say
A
that-
lot of these companies that are successful now started from back then when it was only white people that were allowed to own businesses.
like Google and
I'm not talking about like that, but
like all these huge successful companies.
or if a black and Hispanic man, two partners, went into a bank at the same time a white person was going to the bank for a loan to start a business, who do you think would end up getting that loan for that business?
But what? See, again, these arguments, I think they're so dumb because it's like, number one, what business? What is their credit? Now, again, you can sit there and say, okay, well, let's say that they have the same credit and it's the same business. They're both going to open up a coffee shop. You can't come up with an answer with that because there's no deciding factor. There's not a deciding factor. Now, if you said, okay, let's say a black,
but you can't sit there and say that people aren't, if they're going just off of color, that there's not people that are going to think that there's less credibility in what the black man and the Hispanic are trying to sell or start.
But again, you're assuming that that everyone in some position of power is going off of color. That's not true.
Not everyone, but it's a good amount of people.
I disagree. It's a good amount, because if it was, okay, think of it this way: if it was a good amount of people that were doing that, we would have virtually no people of color in any type of like management or any type of boss or any kind of. Or
I'm not saying again that there's not any of them. Yes, that they do allow black people and other people of color to own businesses and things like that.
So again, if I'm going by, look, this is just regular business. We're not even talking about like the $1 billion ones. Regular business in America. And now again, this is according to the let's see here. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, okay, that there are approximately 30% of all individually owned businesses in America. 30% of them are owned by minorities. Okay, now again,
sorry, what did you say? What was it, 30%? Just say it again. It was 5 seconds ago.
30% of regular businesses in America, this is regular business, businesses are owned by minorities. Now, 30% of all the businesses are owned by minorities. Now, what is the minority population in America? That's where we get, okay, there we go. So now what is the, let's see here, minority, and you can cut this out too, minority population. Okay, here we go. Currently are a minority or polarity. All right. So like I said, so you got 30% of regular businesses, and just regular business in America, 30% of all the businesses are owned by minorities, okay? Now, the population in America, as of, according to the Census Bureau, you have 72.4% white in America, okay? That's how many white people are in America, 72.4. 27.6 is going to be minority, okay? So the percentage of businesses owned are technically higher than the amount of minorities that are in America.
What year were both of those studies again?
These are 2016.
Both of them?
Yeah. So these are done 2016. So again, where does white privilege come in? This is my point, is that if there was such thing as white privilege, would not this be imbalanced? Now, you can't say because, well, it's 72% white. Well, yeah, because, again, you're looking at a country, okay, a country that was founded by whites, obviously, that brought a bunch of white people over here. These numbers fucking prove it.
Okay, so yesterday you and I were talking a little bit more about an overall of white privilege. I was telling you also that it's not just financial, it's not a financial white privilege, that there's other privileges. There's also
like what, the cops?
Okay, we'll go into the cops.
Because I have the numbers right here. I got the numbers right
Hold on,
here.
Shut up, stupid.
According to the Department of Justice, as of 2017, as of 2017, according to the DOJ, Department of Justice, you have, when they had the whole stop and frisk, so pretty much you're going to profile somebody while they're driving.
Yep.
Okay. Out of all of those arrests, 98% of those arrests were either black or Hispanics with unregistered firearms, which unregistered firearms are illegal. So
what?
So don't commit crimes. You don't want to be.
But so, okay. And I know you're going to have something stupid to say with this. Blacks and Hispanics, you don't want them to have illegal guns, right?
Nobody should have an illegal white, black, Hispanic.
Okay, but being that blacks and Hispanics live in more of the troubled neighborhoods, if you will.
So that gives.
So then, hold on. But it's not that it gives them the right, but they need to sometimes protect themselves because they can't rely on help from anybody else. So they need to protect themselves because they live in such a bad neighborhood.
So why can't they go down and buy a gun legally? What's wrong with that?
Maybe because it costs too much to do that. And they need to have the firearm right then and there. because someone's trying
You
to
can
break
get a
into their
gun
house.
the game. You can get a gun the same day. So
Yes, but it costs more to get it
If somebody-
legally. What if you need it right then and there
Okay.
because someone's trying to harm you?
Okay, but right then and there, so if someone comes up to me and is like, "I'm gonna,"
I'm not
stab
saying
you,
you're gonna go
I'm gonna
right
say,
to a guy
now
next to
you
you
need
across
to
the
wait.
street.
Hold on, sir, before you stab me.
No, but
I
if
need
you-
to go buy a gun illegally.
If you know you need
No.
to protect yourself,
yeah.
if you know you need to protect yourself and you need to get a gun, you're going to talk to someone in that neighborhood that already has it there.
So then, okay. So then again, I'm gonna use your argument. Let's say that that's true. Let's say I go down to Walmart and I don't know, bump into some guy's grocery cart and he says, "Hey, you fat motherfucker, I know where you live and I'm gonna come and I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna kill you tonight at 7:00. I'm gonna come to your house. I'm gonna shoot you." That gives me the time to say, now here, look, let me come with this moral dilemma. Should I'm gonna go buy a gun for $50 from this guy I know. Okay, and I'm gonna shoot this guy that comes on my property, tries to kill me in self-defense using an unregistered weapon, and I'm still gonna go to jail. I'm still gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, but you know what?
You
and your family are going to be alive.
Yeah, but guess what? Going back to what you said. Now, guess what? Now my wife is raising my child without the dad around. Or
you know why?
Here's option B. Why don't I go down to the local gun store and purchase a gun legally, which I can get that day?
Because it costs more to get it from a shop like that versus getting it from a guy in your neighborhood.
So then, okay. So
Sometimes you have to take that risk. That's why I'm saying circumstances cause you to do things that can.
But 98% of the time, 98% of those people, that's bullcrap. Now, how do you still account for the vast majority of for the vast majority of crimes being committed are from people of color?
Because maybe they have to be able
You
to
have
try
to commit crimes?
I'm saying that I can understand sometimes. I'm not condoning. I'm not saying murder or anything like that. But when you have to, when you do
over
theft,
50% of the murders are committed by people of color.
okay. But when sometimes you have to commit theft so you can feed your family or so they can afford to have shoes or something like that. I understand. I'm not saying it's the best thing or the right thing, but they get put in that position because they can't always get the best of jobs or they can't get the best of so and so.
So okay, so this is my this is my argument here. Okay, so you're saying that like you have to commit crimes to feed and take care of your family. I can see that. I can see that. But let me tell you something. I go down to, let's just say, for example, over to the west side or the south side of town in a very poverty-stricken neighborhood. These families, they have cars with rims on them. Their kids are walking around with new iPhones, Jordans on their feet. And you can't argue this with me because I see it all the time. So this hard times that they're going through, they have to steal food to feed their family with Jordans on their feet and new iPhones.
You and I
flat
both
screen
know.
TVs.
You and I both.
No, but
Okay, so
but this is my thing. If feeding your family is so important that you have to risk committing a crime to go to jail.
okay,
But you
just
would
because
rather have-
you can't make it sound like they're buying Jordans and they're buying iPhones every month. They're not. Maybe they had a chance to where they pocketed like $1,000. Just saying.
So
just
then
saying.
why can't you pocket that money to feed your family?
Because that only goes for so long. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
What goes for so long? That is.
That amount of money.
So then why? Okay, what? So that makes no sense. So let's just say you said that.
Okay, hold on.
You're gonna pocket $1,000. Let's just for
Hold on.
a nice round number.
Hold on.
$1,000. You're gonna pocket that $1,000. Okay, and then you're gonna. Oh, you know what?
I'm gonna let you spill your thing because then I'm gonna come back. So go.
All right, fine. So then I'm gonna spend this $1,000 on buying this. I'm gonna buy some Jordan. I'm gonna buy a new iPhone. I'm gonna buy this and that. Food, that's not important until I have to steal it or until I have to commit a crime.
Okay, you ready for mine?
I'm ready. Go for it.
Okay. You have your wife, you have your child, and okay, whatever. You have your wife and your 2 kids, right? Not saying you have 2 kids, whatever, but just an example. You fall into $1,000. Okay. You tell me if your family has been living off of bare minimal for a year, 11 months, okay? And that one time you have $1,000, your family is constantly depressed, constantly eating scraps and blah, blah, blah. You mean to tell me that if you have $1,000 that you're not going to try and give them a little bit of happiness? Yes, it's a materialistic thing, but say your little boy who gets teased at school because he doesn't have the best clothes or the best shoes or anything. You mean to tell me you're not going to spend $150 on shoes and clothes for him? Or if you can buy a used iPhone on 5 Mile or Craigslist, whatever, for $200 or $300 for your wife, just to give her a little piece of the pie to be happy. You mean to tell me you're not going to do that? So of course, when you fall into money, you try and make your family happy or feel like they're getting something out of this world. So of course, when they buy certain things, it's not because they're spending it all on that all the time. They're not buying rims and all that all the time. It's when they fell into money, they had enough to buy that for their family. So then, of course, once everything goes away, then, of course, they have to figure out the next grind, the next hustle.
So, if I come across $1,000...
Here comes your smart-ass comment. I know it's a smart-ass comment.
If I come across $1,000... And just like you said, it only lasts so long. This is my thing, is that if I know my family is suffering, and I come across $1,000, okay? Now... What does my family need? What does my family need? Do they need food? Do they need heat, electricity? What do they need? Not do they want Jordans? Is the iPhone gonna make them happy? No, because you know what? If they're worried about an iPhone or Jordans making them happy or fulfilling their life, then you're not in that bad of a situation. I'm sorry, you're not. But if you're in a bad...
You're taking it all... You're making it a lower degrade of...
No, I'm not. Because I'm going over the same argument you're saying.
Because I just gave you that as a quick...
Yeah, because I wouldn't go spend it on a bunch of other stuff knowing that I don't know when the next amount of money is going to come in. Because then what? We're going to be sitting at the table eating fucking scraps and shit. But guess what? Let me look at my iPhone real quick. No.
Maybe you didn't even suspect that was going to happen. Maybe you were working and then you lost your job.
That happens all the time.
Okay, so
but you know what? I have the opportunity to go get another job. And you know what? I might have to work 2 or 3 jobs. But the thing is that I am going to do what I can to feed and house my family.
Yes, but then that goes back to what I said. You want to say, okay, well then you got to go and look for another job. It is harder for a Hispanic or a black man to go and grab another job. It is hard for them to just go and apply and get a job the next day. I was lucky to where I met you. I had applied. They called me that same day, told me to go in for the next day after for an interview. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the next day for an interview, and I got hired the next day. I was lucky enough to have that advantage or that privilege or opportunity to do that. It is harder for so many more of my same race and black people to just be able to pop off from one job and go to another.
But why? Is it because they're Hispanic?
It's because of their race.
That is the biggest crock of shit.
It is not.
Oh my God, it is the biggest crock of shit.
Again, I'm not saying that it's for every person because I just gave the example that I myself was lucky enough.
So okay. So then how do you explain the amount of unemployed white people? I'm talking about just in San Antonio.
Again, I'm not saying that there's not any homeless white people or jobless white people. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the majority of people that cannot get a job is Hispanic and black people. That's what I'm telling you. So then it results to them having to do, again, I'm not saying a life of crime like, all these super bad things, but it does cause them, again, I'm not saying it's right, but it makes them fall into a situation to where they end up selling drugs, where they end up having theft charges and things like that. Oh, the hell are you looking at your phone for? Here we go.
So I'm glad you bring up unemployment, Ray, because as I'm looking here, okay, now this is from the, let's see here, Bureau of Labor Statistics from the United States Department of Labor, which is a very credible source. Now this is as of Hispanic Latino as of 2018, the rate of 20 years and over, let's see here, the unemployment rate is at 3.8. 3.8%. That is not a majority. I'm sorry. That is not a majority. So that's of this last year.
I'm not saying a majority of that race alone. I'm saying the majority of rate of the people in the U.S.
Well, this is part of this is the U.S. This isn't San Antonio. This is the U.S. So in the U.S. alone.
No, you're saying 3% of all Hispanics? That's not what I was talking about, though.
Yeah, because you're saying that you're saying that the majority of Hispanics have a problem finding a job because they're brown.
No, I meant like the majority of. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have been saying majority. I meant like, it's more Hispanics and black people that it's hard for them to get a job versus a white person.
So now when it comes to, let's see, black or African American, okay, 20 years or over of the United States, the unemployment rate for them is 6.4. So if you add those together, let's just add them together. 6.4 plus what? 3.8 is 9, 4, 6.
10.6?
Yeah, 10.4?
Something like that, yeah.
Whatever. 10. Whatever. I'm not a mathematician. Anyway, still, let's just call it 11%. 11% of the population is going to, so, I mean, around there, we got unemployment from minorities.
Okay, how many of it are white people?
White people, let's see here, white as of 20 years and over as of 2018, just white people, 10%. 10% of white people are unemployed as of 2018 versus the 3.8 of Hispanics. Mm-hmm. So there's more. Oh, and also.
But didn't I group Hispanics and blacks together? So then when you add them up, aren't blacks and Hispanics still more unemployed than white people? Yes, by a point something more.
No, that's not true. Look, it's right here. It's right here.
I just went off of your statistics.
I'm going here. Look, 18. So from 18 years old, white people.
I don't care about the age. I'm just talking about overall race.
I know, but that's why I'm looking at the white people. I'm going to of when people start working. Here you have white people 11.3 and like 13.
Yeah, but these are people like you. What the hell's on my finger? I don't know. From your table, stupid.
Either way, the simple fact that just one race it trumps over.
It triumphs, yes, it does.
It does. So that's my point. Again, where's the white privilege in that? There is none. There was none.
Oh, you want an example? Hold on, let me give you some other examples.
White privilege, because you know what? My nephew is black. Okay, Stefan is black. He went to college. He graduated.
Again,
and guess what? He works at a company. I can't name the company on air, but he works at a company ran by white people. The vast majority of white people. And guess what? Just upon entry, he makes more fucking money than I do. He makes more money than I do. And he's got a good position and a high position. And he's black. So, hired by white people. So, again, where does the white privilege come in? Exactly. Now, ladies and gentlemen out there in podcast land, does it exist? Yes, it does. Racism does exist.
We're not done. Hold on. I'm not done.
No, fuck that.
No, we're not done.
No,
listen,
we're going on because I'm right and you're wrong.
Nope. So, we're not done. Hold on. Listen, stupid. Okay, as far as Stefan, I'm happy for him and all that. He had the advantages of having a two-family household, a father who was black and a mom who is half black. Okay? He is, again, one of the lucky, well, I don't want to say lucky because I don't want to take away from what Stefan, the hard work he had to do to get to where he was.
Because he worked really hard.
I know.
And you know what?
That's why I'm not trying to.
There was no white man holding him down.
I know. And again, I'm sure his parents also worked very hard to make sure he stayed straight and all that. I know you told me some stories about your sister and how she tried to always, make sure he went down the right path. So, again, he had the privilege to have parents like that. Again, the same way I had the privilege to have a mom that did what she needed to do to make sure I didn't go into the life of crime and have all these kids at such a young age and all this, so on and so forth. But again, the majority, and I'm pretty sure, maybe not Stefan, but his parents would agree that for people in their generation, and maybe in my mom's generation, that it is a lot harder for them growing up to be able to keep up with making sure that they themselves didn't fall into a life of crime like so many of their friends that had to go through that. They had to go through it because of where they lived and the circumstances that they were dealt.
Okay. Well, obviously you can't control
But that's why I'm
when
telling you,
and
there
where and
are
how
some
you were
people
born.
that, because the same way that there's lower class white people, and a lot of people like to refer to them as, and again, I'm not trying to be ugly in that, but like rednecks. Everybody classifies them as lower class, white people.
I prefer white trash. I like that term.
Okay, well, I'll let you say that.
Thank you.
But that's what I'm saying. Everyone has their own lower class groups. But again, there are a few people that are lucky enough to not fall a victim, I guess, to that situation.
So either way, everybody out there in podcast land, you know that we both.
Hold on. I got 3 little things. Examples of white privilege.
Here we go.
And then we'll close this out. If you're white, this was done by a group of people that I saw on, I think it was on ABC, I think. They were talking to some people and they said that white privilege allows them to go shopping with the comfort of knowing that they will not be followed or harassed. This is a white person saying this. That they are not surprised when they are articulate and well-spoken. And that they can use checks or credit cards and count on their skin color not to work against their credibility. Those are other forms of white privilege. This is why I'm telling you, it does not just go off of if you don't have advantages, because that's what everybody likes to also, or only thinks that that's what white privilege is. If you're not reaping the benefits of the money that all these rich white people are getting, then then there is no such thing as white privilege. But it goes more into to different aspects of everything.
I have a lot to say about that. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap it up, okay? Here at the Huevos and Ketchup podcast, we agree, okay? We do agree. Racism still exists. It's ugly. It's terrible. If you're, it is. We don't believe in racism. We don't believe in, discrimination. We don't, any of that stuff. That stuff is terrible. If you see that happening, guys, report it. Stand up for those people who are being, actually victimized, being harassed. Don't just turn a blind eye and let it keep existing, guys, okay? Because here at the Huevos and Ketchup podcast, we love everybody. We love you if you're gay, straight, white, black, trans, non-trans, whatever the fuck you want to be. Hey, thanks for listening, guys. Tune in next time.